We wish to acknowledge the ancestral and traditional indigenous territories of the Treaty 6 Cree and Treaty 7 Blackfoot and Stoney Nations. We also recognize this region as a historical meeting gathering site, and we are grateful to be here as we gather today for this event. Bienvenue au Centurion pour la compétition de hockey des Jeux d'hiver de Canada 2019. Cette compétition est présentée par Sport Check, fier partenaire des Jeux du Canada. Les prêts de ce soir, une équipe Alberta et l'équipe Ontario. Pour cette partie, l'équipe Alberta a été désignée comme équipe haute. Avant de poursuivre, nous tenons à remercier les premières nations faisant partie du traité numéro 6, les Cris, du traité numéro 7, les Pieds Noirs et les Stoney. Car nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui sur leur terre ancestrale et traditionnelle. Cette région est également un lieu de rassemblement traditionnel d'Haïti et c'est un privilège de pouvoir nous réunir dans le cadre de cet événement.
Good evening and welcome inside of the NMAX Centurion. My name is Quentin Amundsen and we have a rematch of the 2015 Canada Winter Games final on tap for you. 4 years ago it was Ontario prevailing 3-1 over Team Alberta. I wonder what the story will be in this game. Joining me for this broadcast tonight is Holly McNeil. And Holly, we were talking before the broadcast about how these two teams really play that run and gun offense, and we might really get an ode to the 1980s Edmonton Oilers. They do not play dull games. That seems to not be in the DNA of both Team Alberta and Ontario. You have seen Ontario a lot in this tournament. Could you break down what they're all about?
Yeah, with Team Ontario, it's while they're scoring a lot of goals, they're also giving up a lot of goals. So it's high event hockey on both ends of the ice for Team Ontario. They're big bodies, so they can throw them around if the opposition wants to play that game. But they're also loaded with skill if that's the way it goes. But they did have a hard time against Quebec. They took a lot of penalties, and they had a really hard time keeping the puck out of their own end. They ended up losing that game 7-3.
And for Alberta, it's been a very similar story. They lost their opening game 4-3. Then they had a 6-1 lead in their second game. That turned into a really white-knuckle affair, 6-5. They had to have a big 5-4 comeback win over Team BC. It was 4-3 after the first period in the quarterfinal last night against New Brunswick, but then they really put the hammer down, just like Thor did in the comic book movies, and they were ultimately able to earn their biggest win of the tournament. So there's going to be a lot of firepower on the ice, some good individual matchups that we will really key in on, but we're just going to let you kind of soak up the atmosphere. We'll have the national anthem, and then we'll come back and set up what should be a really entertaining tilt. A great capacity crowd here to watch this game at the home of the Red Deer Rebels, but home today of the Canada Games Hockey Tournament.
Please join me. Let's hear you sing our national anthem. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Garde ton bras et porte l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard.
Well, I'm looking forward to the battle on the ice. I'm also looking forward to the battle in the crowds. These are both really rabid fan bases. Alberta's always waving the flags, doing the chants, and I understand there's some musical instruments accompanied with the Ontario fans. Is that correct?
Yes, every game I've seen Ontario play so far, there has been a drum, a large, loud drum, and some very organized chanting on the Ontario side. So it should be fun to see these two fan bases try to battle here.
The question is, will Alberta silence the drum or will it beat all night long? Let's see what happens here. All right, starting in net is going to be Drew Sim. really was solid, came in at the second period in that game against New Brunswick and really steadied the ship. It was 4-3 after the first period there. Did some good work. And at the other end, Benjamin Goudreau, he's produced some very solid performances throughout the year and a really decorated goaltender that was able to win the 2018 World Selects Invitational Tournament a year ago. That was a 36-team showcase in Philadelphia, and he was able to be an all-star goaltender at that event, so he seems to have that good pedigree in events like this.
He does, and he's looked good for Ontario. Like we said, while they have had some goals scored against them, the goaltender has looked good for Team Ontario.
Because they allow a lot of shots, and they take a lot of shots, too. Battle at center ice. And look at that, on the faceoff, two players vying for exceptional status. Savoy for the WHL, Shane Wright for the OHL. Isn't that fitting?
The coaches are just giving us exactly what we want here.
And yes, that's great. I was excited when I heard the announcement that they would share the ice, and I hope that's the matchup that we see constantly, but there's all sorts of weapons on both these sides for sure. Grant Clark plays it D-to-D for Del Mastro. Lead pass ahead for Arnsby, and he knocked it ahead for Ronan Schmidt. He tried to fire it on goal, but that goes wide and ricochets off the boards out to center. Del Mastro in his own territory. D-to-D for Clark. They're being very cautious about their approach because they know Alberta's good on the rush. The puck is stolen. Big save is made by Goudreau. As stepping into a loose puck in the slot was Gunther, but Goudreau was in good position to shut that down. Arnsby, centering pass. Nobody was there. McNeil rattles it to the far boards. It's elevated out to center. It's dropped back deep inside of the defensive end. Connor Larkhart is trying to go to work and fend off the grind line of McNeil, Armstrong, and Zach Ostapchuk. They have been a thorn in the side of their opponents as the shot went on goal. Handcuffed the goaltender Goudreau a little bit, but McNeil was denied. Ronan Schmidt does a little bit of a spinorama to get away from danger. Lead play ahead down that right wing. Lockhart, a stretch pass. McTavish behind the defense. He shoots, he scores.
McTavish had a great game yesterday in Ontario's win over Manitoba. Scored a similar goal where he kind of just did a lot of work and got himself in a great position.
A tremendous pass by Lockhart right on the tee, and he put it top shelf where Mama hides the cookies to do a little bit of an homage to Rick Generette right there.
Super excited for Team Ontario and the fans here. We can already see the noise level we're going to be dealing with here tonight.
First goal on the first shot for Team Ontario, a minute 21 into the game.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 14, Mason McTavish. Assist number 12, Connor Lockhart.
And now the puck is going to rattle out to center. Olin Zellweger plays it up for Grube. Up for grabs in the attacking zone. Uchaz behind the defense takes a shot. That was deflected off a pad. Kuhlman's in the right circle. His shot scales over top of the net. Zellweger in on the pinch. Straddles down the left wing. Behind the net for Grube. Angles it free. Stringer, who's come back from injury. He missed the last couple games for Alberta. He's taking his usual presence in front of the net. Zellweger taps it behind the cage. Stringer is knocked down from behind, but he's back to his feet. And he angles it to the far side boards, but it's quickly knocked over to the corner. Trying to stab it out on his backhand. Isaac Enright can't get it out. Shot towards the net, but it bounced off the pad. And a race down the right side by Zilkin. And Holly, you were telling me that this kid could motor. Really dynamic mover, and you saw a little hint of that on that little sequence.
Yeah, he's definitely got a motor on him, and if he gets in alone, he will turn it on.
Right, sends it across. Backhander, great save is made by goaltender Sim. That is flat-out robbery. A tremendous deke to the backhand by Pinelli, but the goaltender said no.
Ontario starting this game with some serious speed and jump.
And the first two shots that the goaltender Sim has faced have been breakaway opportunities. One has gone in, and another one he made a stupendous save. Shot off the draw. Hoffman was looking for the screen, but that was a block. Puck is angled by Arnsby into the slot area. Right, tapped it wide of the cage. Down low behind his own net, the Alberta captain, Chagall. Got it to the blue line, but Del Maestro hold the line, but now it's directed as an offside call. But a really good play made by Wright, and he was really dominant, but quite a few dominant players on this roster, indeed, for Team Ontario.
Yeah, 5 of the players on this Team Ontario roster come from the Don Mills Flyers of the GTHL, a team that's currently 64-1-4, which sounds like a record that couldn't necessarily be true, but it is.
And they haven't lost the game since late November. Like, that's incredible.
These players coming in here with a very, very capable understanding of winning.
And that has been on display. Ontario, of course, wanting to defend that gold. Alberta has a medal streak running back to the 1991 games. You have to go back to 1987 for the last time they didn't medal at these Canada Games. 2 bronze, 3 silver, and a couple of golds. Arnsby into the high slot, a big cannon of a drive, and it's fired well over top of the net by Brendan Offman.
Offman, another fantastic player for Team Ontario. Through the first 2 games of the tournament, he had 10 points.
Holmes the shot, that is blocked. Savoy is going to work. He'll curl to the inside lane, poked off his blade. Back in support down low at his own end. Mason McTavish has it tapped to the left point. Smith holds it in, takes a shot, drifts wide of the cage. Jacob Holmes. He'll set up the outlet, and carrying the puck into the zone is Larmont, but he had a teammate a hair ahead of him, so it's offside.
There's a lot of size between both of these teams. Ontario definitely being one of the larger teams we've seen in the tournament. While physicality is not their go-to, they can definitely hang if that's the kind of game the opposition wants to play.
4:11 gone in this hockey game so far. And the goal was scored at 1 minute and 21 seconds for Mason McTavish of Team Ontario. Puck is stolen in the neutral zone. Roman Schmidt has it on a bit of a string, and he dropped it back. Holmes flips it out to center. It is jammed in front of the Ontario bench, but it's regathered. And the puck is tipped inside of the attacking zone by Lockhart. Sim always very active coming out of his net to play the puck, and he was able to steady it. Alberta goes on the counterattack. Uchaz got bumped hard in front of the Ontario bench, and that was punishing him. Shot from the left point. That was blocked, and that was Lajoie getting one on goal, and Goudreau got a piece of that. Down the right side, Joshua Bloom, who plays for the Toronto Young Nationals, only representation from that team. Along with the Don Mill Flyers, the Toronto Marlboros of the GTHL are well represented on this roster. In the high slot, Chagall a shot. That is a little high and wide. Masters got spun around as he went on the forecheck. Chagall pushing and prodding and gets it behind the net, and that is usually the office of Grube. But Ontario kept the puck away and got it out to center. Shots are 2-2 between these two teams. 5.5 minutes in. Shot by Chagall, and that's angled over to the near boards. Tyson LaVenture had a couple of goals last night against New Brunswick, and he is trying to feverishly steal that puck. But kept away from him, and the speedy Jilkin makes his way down the left wing and flips it down low into the attacking end. 5:53 gone in period number 1. 1-0 lead for Ontario. A steal at center. Grant Clark tips it into the attacking end. Referee did call a high sticking call, but now he does wave that off, so play continued. And Doc over for Chagall, and he got it to the blue line. Puck is bouncing around a little bit. Doc had it lost in his skates. He got bumped from behind, and back comes Ontario. Punt it over across backhander. Not able to really get free for a good chance is Chase Stillman, the son of Stanley Cup champion Corey Stillman. Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes. Very decorated player indeed, and Chase Stillman has that offensive talent like his dad does. Holden Dock knocks the puck deep inside the attacking end. Hyland got knocked down as he tried to pursue that puck. A tripping minor is being assessed.
Looks like it'll go to Schmidt, one of the players we mentioned from that Don Mills Flyer team.
Alberta was able to score 3 power play goals last night against Team New Brunswick, so they are clearly feeling it right now. And they often like to set up Gwenther for that one-timer in the far circle, that cross-seam pass from Savoy, but all sorts of different combinations they could throw at you, and I'm sure that's the same for the Ontario power play as well.
Yeah, Ontario definitely has had a little bit of a struggle on the penalty kill, though, so we'll see what they look like here.
Savoy back for Gunther on the top point. Drops it down low for Masters. Cross seam for Savoy. Toe Dragon shoots. Big save is made by Goudreau as he was able to puncture it with his arm. 3 Ontario defenders are trying to fend off the forechecking pressure of Alberta, and the puck does roll down to the other end. Savoy is going to carve his way down the right wing. A little bit of room. He takes a shot. Pad save is made by Goudreau. Racing down, trying to get it short-handed. As number 12, Lockhart, kept away from him. But Uchas ahead for Gunther in the right circle, takes a shot. And that really does go over top of the net. But Matthew Savoy showed off his skill on that last shift. Holly, what could you tell us about him in terms of a scouting perspective?
Well, we were mentioning he's another player challenging for exceptional status. He may have a harder road to it, being the first one granted that status into the WHL should it actually happen. Some of the scouting reports on him is that he's got a Steven Stamkos type release on his shot. He's a natural goal scorer and thinks the game like a pro, and that he is one of the best pure skaters in his age group. High praise for Savoy.
Zellweger on the far circle. Puck is played around very smoothly. Chagall holding on the far boards. It is played by Ceulemans. He fans on the shot, and an opportunity for a short-handed rush down the right side, carving his way down to the attacking zone, but Vilken had it knocked off his stick.
As we mentioned, Vilken with some deceptive speed and an ability to hold on to the puck.
Here's Zellweger in the right corner, drops it back to the point. Ceulemans holding on to it. Tried to drop it back to the point. Nobody was there. A little miscommunication. The wires got crossed. They'll try again. 15 seconds remains on this power play opportunity. Chagall angles it ahead for Ceulemans. A smooth skating defenseman gets it to the blue line, but they were forced offside. So Ontario looking very poised on the penalty kill, so perhaps they made some adjustments because, like you said, they were victimized a little bit earlier on in the tournament, particularly against Quebec in their final game of the round robin. Definitely
learning some lessons about facing teams that have equal or higher levels of skill than them. Doing a good job on that penalty kill.
8:47 gone and period number 1, and we are back to a 5-on-5 game. You heard the loud stick taps by Drew Sim to signal the end of the penalty. Clark in his own end. He'll knock it out to center. Lajoie tips the puck down low into attacking territory. Del Mastro sending right away. Angled it into the attacking end, but he goes offside as well. It is maneuvered up the left wing by Clark, and here's a good play. Slaney got pinned into the boards. Puck is tapped by Wright, can't clear it out. McNeil did a nice job holding it in. Puck bouncing around in the high slot, but it is settled down by Offman. Cross ice pass in the left corner. Del Mastro, the defenseman, is in deep. Really good passing, a centering attempt, but that was broken up. A little bit bouncing all over the place for both these teams. Tough for the puck to get settled down. It is pitchforked high in the air. Referees will roll that hand pass and call play dead. Well, we have featured one of our exceptional players. What's the scouting report on the other one?
Shane Wright, the player for Team Ontario that's bidding for that OHL exceptional status. High praise from scouting reports. A player prospect that could end up being captain of the Canadian World Junior team down the road. Some serious high praise here for Shane Wright.
And that is a tremendous title to have indeed, and that was from the Scouting News. Those folks were able to give him that sort of distinction and definitely labeled as one of the best 2004 born prospects, widely considered, if he does get that exceptional status, to go first overall in the 2019 Ontario Hockey League draft.
Yes, not only the best 2004 player in Canada, but the quote that he probably the United States as well. So not just looking at the Canadian market, but across junior hockey.
And that was Amateur Hockey Report. That was in September 2017, so Savoy will definitely have something to say about that.
We'll see them go head-to-head tonight, and it should be an exciting matchup of these two.
They've already sent
hyper-skilled.
some flashes, yeah. 9:49 remains in period number 1. 1-0 lead in favor of Ontario. Puck is scaled all the way down into the Ontario end. Holmes gathers it in. Taking his time, Schmidt makes a nice lead feed. Puck is bobbed away, and they'll have to try again. Holmes scurries it along for McTavish. Angled over for number 7, Schmidt. And he was able to curl and drag over center and dump it deep into the attacking end, and that will facilitate a wholesale line change for Team Ontario as the puck is chopped down low into the attacking end. Gunther is going to go to work. Drops it back to the right point. Kuhlmans turns, angles it for Guenther. He takes a shot. Save is made. Follow-up chance, save. Another chance, and it goes wide. Savoy had a wide open net. A chance from a sharp angle as well. And Guenther is denied by Gaudreau. Furious pressure by the Albertans, but somehow the puck stayed out.
Gaudreau looking good so far in today's game for Team Ontario.
And that was Savoy on the lip of the crease, but it was Gunther's shot that really started that melee of chances. Then Hyland had a whack. The third opportunity was the best, but Savoy couldn't get it on target. Kuhlmans in on that pinch in the right corner boards. Savoy goes to work. Clark ties it up, plugs it along behind the cage. Del Mastro taps it all the way out to center. A lob deep inside of the attacking zone. Jilkin is there on that forecheck. Referee is ruling another hand pass play, so we'll have the face-off come outside of the zone. First goal of this hockey game was scored for Ontario at 1:21 by Mason McTavish. And that is the only goal scorer that we have. He plays for Pembroke in the Hockey Eastern Ontario League. .8:24 remains in period number 1. Alberta has 7 shots. Ontario has 2. Ontario hasn't been accredited for a shot in over 6 minutes. So they'll have to try and get to the inside. They've had their chances with the actual zone time, just haven't actually elected to shoot the puck that often. Doc gets it over to the near corner boards. It is taken away. Bloom sends it up the right wing for Zilkin. He drops it off for a shot. Big pad save is made by Sim. The rebound was fluttering around. Shot from the near boards, and that goes wide. As trying to catch the goaltender by surprise, it was number 16 of Team Ontario, and that is Chase Stillman. Bodies are colliding a little bit as Doc ran into number 4, Isaac Enright, but they're both back to their feet. Slaney makes a nice cross-ice feed, a rink-wide pass, and the puck is tipped inside of the attacking zone by Doc. Right, a little shovel backhand pass, trying to race up to that puck is Arnsby. It is stolen away. And there is Wright, turning on his motor. He'll just do a little bit of a button hook. A nice lead pass, but Offman couldn't handle that hard bomb. Armstrong can't get the puck out. Racing to keep it alive. It is Clark dropping it back to the left point. Punnett a shot. That didn't get through. Punnett slides it into the high slot. Arnsby's backhand pass goes to the far boards. Good forechecking pressure by this line. Wright is in the corner, drops it back. Offman a shot, blocked in front by the defenseman's skate. That was a stop check getting in the way. On the right point a shot, another block, this time by Lajoie's stick.
Brendan Othman, one of the great players for Ontario so far in this tournament. Amateur Hockey Reporting had this to say about him, that he puts up points and is easily able to make defenders look silly when moving the puck around the offensive zone. We saw some of that control by the line that he plays on recently.
6:07 remains in period number 1. 7-3 the shots on goal in favor of Alberta. The 1-0 the score in favor of Ontario. McTavish glides it along for Larman. A backhand shot attempt in the right circle did not get through. On the point. Shot on goal by Holmes is denied by the goaltender Sims. Rube on the right point. His shot scales off a stick and goes out of play. With some really good pressuring by Team Alberta on the rush along with Team Ontario. What's really cool about Team Alberta is that there are 13 different hockey associations represented. You have Airdrie, Alex, Beaumont, Beasaker, Bonnyville, Calgary, Edmonton, Fort Saskatchewan, Lethbridge, Lloydminster, Okotoks, St. Albert, and Whitecourt. So a really good wealth spread among the teams, and it's good to see all of Alberta come together and really make this work.
With the history Alberta has of this tournament, the amount of different areas that they can pull from is probably part of why the talent pool is so large and these teams are able to be so good.
They have the longest medal streak of any single province in this tournament. Larmont in his own territory skates in front of his net. A dangerous play as Gunther was right on his tail, but fortunately for him, that did not prove costly. Puck is soared into the crowd, and with 4:56 remaining on the clock, the penalty box door is open, and the puck is just going to be taken as they ruled that it was just a deflection. It did not go out for a delay of game, and there has been a lot of delay of game penalties at this tournament.
Yes, I've seen multiple of them through each game we've played. On the plus side, it leads to a lot of power plays that we get to watch.
Absolutely. Shot from the left point. Puck bounces on the net, and it's steered to the near corner by Goudreau's stick, and Ontario is about to take a rush. It is Stillman leading the charge down the right wing. He cuts to the corner, leaves it behind the net, but overtaken by Alberta. Sean Chagall knocks the puck down low into the Ontario end, and Sean Chagall was named Hockey Now Magazine's 2018 Alberta Prospect of the Year. 70 points in 30 games he had last year. Incredible stats.
Those are some serious stats for Team Alberta. Clearly both of these teams loaded with immense amounts of offensive talent.
And his standout moment of the tournament was scoring that clutch game-winning goal in that 5-4 win over BC with 28 seconds left on the clock. McNeil, like a dog on raw meat, he really just digs for those pucks and tries to win those 50-50 battles, but that time he couldn't quite initiate the cycle. The puck bounced all the way to the goaltender Sims, so he will hold on to that. With 3:53 remaining in period number 1. The shots are now 7-5 in favor of Alberta. But Ontario still has that 1-0 lead because of the goal scored by Mason McTavish. Kyle Masters has the puck. He's going to maneuver his way. Cuts into the attacking zone down the left side. All the way down behind the net. A centering pass. He was looking for somebody in the slot. That was broken up. A very smooth movement there by Kyle Masters. Ontario taking their time out of their zone. A lot of short passes as they try to extricate that puck out of the zone, and they do. But Alberta regathers it. Ostapchuk spins and backhands it deep into the attacking zone. Goudreau out to play it. He rims it around, and Ontario is away. Shilkin storming up the left wing. Takes a shot from a sharp angle, and it's steered to the far boards by Sim. Puck knocks out to center. Del Mastro leaves it there. Puck is blasted on goal from center, and a save is made off of Brant Clark. Goaltender Sim very comfortable with just leaving the play in action whenever he can. Puck is tipped on goal. But this time the goaltender Goudreau has to hold on as Uchaz and Grube were bearing down on him. And one thing about Alberta, you were mentioning how Don Mill Flyers have a lot of representation. It's the Northern Alberta Extreme, which also features Savoy, that has a lot of players on the roster. OHA Edmonton also has 4. So those seem to be the two teams that Alberta has pulled a lot of their talent from.
I imagine when you've got players playing together in their junior leagues, the amount of chemistry that they can bring with them to a tournament like this is definitely beneficial.
You absolutely need to have that cohesion. It really is the name of the game. A breakaway pass. Offman's alone. Backhander. Save is made by Sim. And the referee is going to call a hooking penalty as Offman couldn't get the shot off that he wanted to. So Masters is going to the box. And Ontario is going to the power play. And Ontario's power play went 4 for 8 last night, and this is their first opportunity. And they say it's just a lot of movement, and they have a lot of weapons that they could go to. It sounds like they don't have a predictable power play by any stretch.
Not by any stretch. There's so many options on the power play for Ontario.
And let's see what they'll throw at Alberta this time. They really tightened their penalty kill in the last game against New Brunswick. Over the first 2 games that they played, it was only 8 for 14, but they were able to turn it around. Puck is up for grabs on the high slot. A chance to clear for Alberta, and Lajoie will make no mistake. Scales it down to the other end of the ice. Shots are 8 to 8. At one point it was 7 to 2, so Ontario has definitely seized a little bit momentum, and now they try to capitalize on that with their power play opportunity. On the right point. There's going to be another penalty coming up. A shot scores! Clark from the top of the right circle bolted it into the back of the net. A perfect seeing eye wrister through a maze of players. 2-0 Ontario.
Fitting time to mention one of the scouting reports on Clark is that he's got effortless movement and knows how to control a game, always in control of his center of gravity, and runs the power play like a pro.
And you could scratch another penalty being called because the goal has been scored. Oh, but they are actually going to call it after the whistle. That made sense, so Masters is going to go into the box.
Ontario coming off that goal on the power play, about to get another chance here.
Well, they actually scratched that. Smith is going off. And that was behind the play, so we'll get exact clarification about that call in a matter of moments. But Ontario has the coveted 2-0 lead, a scoring of 100 seconds remaining on the clock in period number 1.
Ontario's second unit on the ice here, led by center McTavish, who's already got 1 goal in today's game.
They just changed the penalty clock a little bit, getting number 20 Smith on the board. It was stuck on the previous penalty, but that is rectified. So Wright has an assist, and Arnsby the secondary assist.
A dynamic trio for Team Ontario, and like we mentioned, usually on that power play, Zilkin and Clark are the other 2 on the ice.
Now the face-off will be outside of the Ontario end. They have another minute 53 to kill, so about 20 seconds would carry over to the next period unless Ontario scored. 2 minutes for interference is the call. We just heard from the public address announcer. Ontario's 1 for 1, trying to go 0 for 2 in the near corner. Referee has his arm up in the air. Faceoff will be outside of the zone. A little bit of a hand pass then in that case. 9-8 the shots on goal in favor of Ontario. And they have the 2-0 lead. McTavish scored a minute 21 in. And Clark scored with a minute 20 remaining in the period. On the right point, the puck is carried over center. It is nudged into the attacking end, and they try to set up their formation. Chagall taps the puck out to safety in the neutral zone. McTavish has it. 44 seconds remains on the clock in the period. He'll storm his way up the right wing. Careens his way down to the area behind the net. It is left there for Lockhart. O'Donnell back to the blue line. Holmes one-touches it down to the right corner boards. Lajoie tries to tie it up. It is poked free. Lockhart, Holmes in the left circle. McTavish turned and fired. He was looking for the little tip chance in front. as the goaltender Sim does not have a stick. On the left point, McTavish down low, little quick backdoor play, but it went wide. Big battle raging on behind the attacking net. Trying to jam it loose. 3 seconds remaining on the clock. I don't think they're going to get it free for another chance. Ontario is going to go to the first intermission with a 2-0 lead. And they were pressing for more on that power play, but Alberta was able to kind of come out and have a good territorial edge, but Ontario chipped away and ultimately got a lot of shots in a row on Team Alberta. What adjustment did you see in the last half?
Ontario was definitely making more crisp and connecting passes. They had a hard time really making it work against some other teams late in this tournament. They've had an issue of really bringing their A game sometimes, especially when they feel like they should be ahead. Against Alberta, though, none of that to be seen.
And they appear to be very poised, and we'll see how Alberta will be able to respond. As the two teams will go off to their respective dressing rooms, we'll come back after about 13 minutes and recap period number 1 and, of course, set up period number 2. Thank you for joining us on Canada Games Hockey.
Sustainable Canada Games on record. Thank you to Nova Chemicals.
Welcome back inside at the NMAX Centrium. A 2-0 lead for Ontario at the end of one period. We are about 3.5 minutes away from the start of the second period. So let's take a little look at our box score from period number one. It was Mason McTavish drawing first blood for Team Ontario at 1:21 of the period, assisted by Connor Lockhart and goaltender Benjamin Goudreau. And then it was 18:20 of the first period, a minute 40 remaining on the clock. A power play marker, Brant Clark, assisted by Shane Wright and Liam Arnsby. And we're going to see 20 seconds more of the penalty against Matt Smith for interference. So we will see if Ontario will be able to add another more tally to their list of goals as we go into period number two. So Holly, what adjustments do you think Alberta might have to make here if they wanted to try and claw away at this deficit?
They're definitely going to have to up the aggression. Ontario definitely able to control the puck for long stretches. On the power play especially, their ability to work in their defensemen, but also just keep the puck away from Alberta. It just seems as if the passes for Ontario are connecting a little bit more than the passes for Ontario, so it could, or for Alberta, could just be attention to detail, no matter how cliche that one sounds as well.
And there has been some really good attention to detail really paid at the camps that took place prior to this tournament. There is good cohesion, and you have to credit the fact that these players did come together for multiple camps before the tournament to try and build those bonds. And the Toronto players were able to come together in their home area and welcome the rest of Team Ontario to the MasterCard Center for Hockey Excellence, aka the Maple Leafs Practice Arena, for a pre-game camp, and that took place from February 11th to February 14th. Alberta did their big camp in late December, and they had a couple of big exhibition games against the Red Deer Chiefs and the St. Albert team as well, so they were able to build those bonds, and you could really see the fruits of those labors on the ice as there's those good connections. But it also helps that there are big battalions from individual club teams that have come together to really build those bonds. And especially for Ontario, they really seem like they've been playing with each other on the power play for a very long time. Yeah,
there's a lot of cohesion on both of these teams. They play like full units. You can see on the power play here for Ontario, the players on the ice seem to be the way that they go. This is their first unit. Arnsby, Wright, Othman. Sometimes it's, there's Othman right now. Arnsby, Othman, Wright, Clark. And then the last member of this power play switches. Sometimes it's Zilkin, sometimes it's another defenseman. Right now it's Del Mastro. The chemistry between these units, though, very clear when they get on the ice, both for Alberta and for Ontario.
And we're about 43 seconds away from the start of this period. And a little bit later on in the game, I'll give you a bit of an update in terms of the state of the game between British Columbia and Manitoba. They're battling for a spot in the 5th place game. We'll let you know that tomorrow on Sports Canada TV, we will be covering the 5th place game at 12:30. The bronze medal game at 4. TSN is handling the gold medal game at 7:30. We know Quebec's going to be there. Who is going to join them? Ontario has that 2-0 lead. And they have 20 more seconds on the man advantage.
Not much more you could ask for a Friday full of hockey.
And it's great to see the really good crowd support here for this hockey game.
Definitely the largest crowd I've seen at a game I've been doing.
Ontario is going to work as they win that face-off, going from left to right this frame. Del Mastro struts it into the attacking zone. He'll play it behind the attacking net. Angles it to the far boards for Arnsby. Can't quite hold it in. It's rejected and knocked out to center. But Clark lifts it back into the zone only momentarily. Smith is out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey between these two clubs. LaVenture takes a shot from the high slot. That is high and wide. Dock on the far boards. Has it knocked aside, and it is picked up by Arnsby. Down the right wing, holding on, slides it in the slot. Shot on goal. Othman is denied. A good save is made by Sim, closing the wickets together. "46 seconds into the period. That was an excellent save made by Sim to keep it 2-0. And Simmons had to face some very difficult shots, and Goudreau, of course, has faced a few as well. Larmont walking the line, stabs it deep into the left corner, goes into the near corner boards. Battle raging on. McTavish now skates behind the attacking net. Controls along the outside. He'll reverse course, sends it to the near corner boards, but it's broken up by Smith. A chance for Alberta to get it out, and they do. Gunther sends it all the way to Ontario territory.
Ontario definitely have to be careful here, because as soon as the puck comes out of Alberta's end, Savoy has the Jets turned on, and
Shots.
he is chasing that puck.
Oh yes, a dynamic mover, that's for sure. Another thing that I noticed about him in one of the scouting reports, the Steven Stamkos release on a shot. I have seen that a couple of times. I would agree with that analysis for sure.
It's definitely a fantastic player to be comparing him to.
And a lot of good comparisons. Shane Wright says he likes to model his game after Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders. And Barzal has great utility, really dangerous as a playmaker, a goal scorer. Has some pretty good physical edge to him too, and he's once again thriving on the island this year.
Yeah, well-rounded is definitely a great way to describe a lot of the top level talent in this tournament and on both of these teams.
And good to see Zach Stringer back in the lineup for Alberta, missing those couple games of an injury. First time I got to broadcast him was in 2017. He was playing as an underager at the 2017 World Selects Invitational in Philadelphia, but did not look out of place whatsoever playing with 2002-born kids. And he has some really good energy dimension on this roster.
It's fantastic to be able to see the growth of the players, especially at this age where the growth happens so quickly.
Yeah, there's so many building blocks that are laid year after year after year. Minute 53 gone in period number 2. Shots are 11-8 in favor of Ontario. We're still awaiting our first big opportunity of the period for either team. Stringer lobs it ahead, maybe a 2-on-1. It is Grube down the right side. Curls, takes a shot, blocked by a skate. And on the doorstep, the puck ricocheted off the backboards. They jam away. But the referee calls play dead, but a lot of drubs repeatedly by Stringer trying to will that puck free, but Goudreau have it trapped.
Physicality ramping up in this game here.
And 2:15 remains in period number 2. Yes, there was a hit behind the play as that rush was happening, and that drew one of the bigger reactions from the crowds, other than the goals, of course. Alberta fans waiting for a moment to cheer of their own. Ontario has had 2 in this hockey game.
When they get that moment, I imagine there will be a significant pop in the building.
That is for sure. The goals have been very loud when their home province have scored. 2:22 gone in the second period. And another icing call is coming up. And Alberta will go to work. Bit of a scrambled face-off, battle raging on along the far boards. Arnsby picks it up. Little short pass ahead for Clark, carries it across the line, stops up, takes a shot, steered aside by Sim. Lead pass ahead, Gunther steaming his way down the right side. Really promising rush, but a good active stick is made by Del Mastro to shut him down. Gunther gets it back though. Back to the right point. Masters quickly across for Lajoie. In the high slot, Savoy takes a shot. Blocked. And the puck is elevated all the way out to center. Knocked down, bouncing a little bit. Masters needled it ahead. Cross ice feed. Savoy pivots. Goes back door. Shot towards the cage is wide. Gunther had an excellent look. The goaltender was starting to sprawl down, but the shot was well off the mark. But there is the dynamic vision of Matthew Savoy.
Seems like with players of Savoy and Wright's ability, it doesn't take much. 1 second, it does not seem like a viable play, and then a second later, they're doing something with the puck that none of us have ever seen.
Absolutely. Schmidt took a shot, and then it elevated off a leg and went out of play. 3:31 remaining in the second period. And we've been praising the offensive players, but the defensive structure so far has been really good. It's been very hard to get to the inside.
Yeah, especially with teams and players of this age. Sometimes, that's the skill that you pick up the longer you're in the game. But these players definitely a very good understanding of defensive ability and where to be.
And they just have such a high hockey IQ. They are really drilled in the fundamentals, and they have a very acute understanding of where they need to be at all times. And you have to credit some good coaches have been assigned for this roster. And one of the guys I'm going to profile right now is Bobby Fox, who's the head coach of Team Alberta, was a consultant for the Alberta Cup, but he's been an assistant coach for the Okotoks Oilers and the Mount Royal University Cougars. So a really well-decorated junior A and collegiate program here in Alberta. And Mount Royal University is special to me, my alma mater. I happen to call a couple of Cougars games in the day. So yeah, nice to see Mount Royal Cougars on this guy's resume. Puck is played by Armstrong, and he flips it all the way, and it bounces off the boards right to McNeil, and he taps it ahead for Ostapchuk. Curls to the inside, takes a shot. That goes wide. There was a little screen in front of Goudreau. Puck is bounced back to the neutral zone. Zellweger goes D to D. Ceulemans can't find an avenue to advance the puck. And now the puck is threaded ahead. A lane down the middle. A shot on goal. Big save is made by Goudreau. The seas parted right down Main Street, and Doc was denied by a really excellent save by Goudreau. And you have to credit that to positioning.
Fantastic positioning. Both of these teams not giving much away, and the goaltenders doing a good job when they do. Shots are even up at 12 apiece here, so we're seeing a pretty even game despite the 2-0 score in favor of Team Ontario.
On the left point, Zellweger weaves his way down the left wing, creating some time in rim. His shot is gloved. And a little whack after the whistle, but the two sides separate. Well, I have gone through the credentials of the Alberta coach. I believe you have some items of the coach of Team Ontario's resume.
Yes, the Team Ontario bench boss, Jeff Gordon, is the Kemptville 73's midget AAA coach. He was also one of the goaltending and video coaches from the Team Ontario team that won gold in 2015. He entered the coaching ranks in 2012 and 13 with the Ottawa Senators midget AAA team.
And also an Ottawa 67's assistant coach for a couple years as well. So definitely very familiar with that age group. And that is really a key thing as well. You want a coach that's very familiar so they could talk to the players. That's really been so evident. The evolution of how to communicate with these young players has been one of the big changes in coaching philosophy, I'd have to say.
Yes, it's an important thing, especially with the age of superstars getting lower and lower, and those young players being more and more critical to the success of these teams.
Absolutely. Rubb goes to work down low in the attacking end, but it's quickly taken away. Zhilkin is flying down the left wing. Kept to the outside, takes a shot though, and a pad save made by Sim. There was a rebound there. Nobody could get a piece from close blank range. Masters in his own end. Flips it right out to center. Puck was a little too unruly. It could have possibly been a 2-on-1 if it did stop in front of Stringer. In on the pinch. Masters going to work, but it got past him. A lot of pressure being applied in the neutral zone for Team Ontario. It's been tough for Alberta to try and break through this neutral zone alignment.
Ontario doing a much better job in this game than they did when they played Team Quebec, the only loss they've had so far in this tournament. Doing a much better job of making sure their passes connect. Losing a little bit of the sloppiness we saw against that Quebec team.
13-13, the shots on goal. Puck is played by Lajoie. All the way out to center. Stringer attempted to funnel it cross ice, but it's broken up. It is glided down low into the Alberta zone, but it's regathered by the defense. Masters makes a lead feed. Stringer falls down at center. Slow to get to his feet. And Punnett got a big hit on Masters. Centering pass, a shot. Big save is made by the goalkeeper and that was Wright. Bit of a broken play. The puck was centered, and then Wright was denied by a good save by Sim. Right into his equipment. The Stillman line is out there. He'll take the draw. He gives instructions, wanting to set up a chance for Pinelli off the draw. Comes back to the point instead. Punnett shot didn't get through. Now comes back to him. Schmidt gets it to the high slot. It is jabbed to the blue line, but Alberta can't get it out. On the far corner boards, Pinelli taps it over to the near corner. Trying to race after it and keep it going as Patey. But Alberta does find an exit zone. Highland streaming down the middle, takes a shot. That is blocked. Following up, Smith a drive. Save is made. Follow-up chance again. A backhander. And I believe he got a piece of that too. Highland a shot. That goes through the blue paint over to the near corner. Chaos inside of the Ontario zone, and a shot is deflected off of Schmidt right into the goalkeeper.
Probably the best chance we've seen for Alberta in this period.
All of a sudden, the chaos came out of nowhere, and Goudreau had to really be really calm, cool, and collect under siege, and he made good on that sequence.
Gaudreau getting some taps from his fellow teammates here.
And that's why he has those very impressive credentials. Tell you a little bit more about his success after we have the stoppage in play. On the left point, Zellweger plays it behind the cage. Ontario does extricate it all the way down to the other end. Zellweger backhands at D to D. Pullmans can't get that puck out of the zone. Puck is backhanded out to safety. Clark holding on. Just tips it deep into the attacking end. Ostapchuk settles down that puck, can't get it out. A shot from the far boards by McTavish is denied by the goalkeeper.
As we mentioned, Benjamin Gaudreau, the goaltender for Team Ontario, with some impressive stats. He's allowed 2 goals or less in each of his last 16 starts for the North Bay Trappers, and he's only yielded 3 goals once on October 5th against the Sudbury Major Midget Wolves. An impressive record for the goaltender, Benjamin Gaudreau.
18 wins, 0 losses. His team was 35-0 the last time I checked.
Some very serious pedigree coming between these two teams in their junior squads.
Yeah, these squads, they don't really lose a lot of games. Between this and the Don Mills Flyers, wow.
Seems to be winning is in the DNA of these guys.
Savoy has that taken away, and really that's also a big factor. Not only the talent, there's that winning attitude that's so important when selecting this team. Wright has it on his backhand, curls to his forehand, back to the point, shot towards the gate, backdoor scores! A shot pass, and that was an excellent play down low as it was sent from the blue line by number 3 Del Mastro right onto the blade of Hoffman at the side of the net and into the wide open cage. Nothing Sim could do about that.
Hoffman continues to just light it up at this tournament. Like I said, after 2 games, he had 10 points. He's been in the top 2 of scoring in the entire tournament since day 1, and I don't think that's going to stop.
And Wright made that good pass. All sorts of room for that shot to be released. And then it was 3-0. Ontario looking mighty poised so far. 16-16 the shots on goal, but the execution has just been better thus far. Shot from long range by LaVenture. Off the backboard. Backhander save is made by Gaudreau. LaVenture. Back it goes for number 5, Slaney. Slaney trying to battle that puck. Couple of stick extensions trying to keep it alive, but it's bounced out to center and plied down low into the Ontario end, but we have a stoppage at play. There's going to be an interference minor assessed, and it will go against Team Alberta's LaVenture. Ontario is going back to the power play. And they are up 3-0. They are 1 for 2.
Ontario going with that favorite unit. Zilkin on this one. So it looks like they've gone with 4 forwards, 1 defenseman.
And you'd expect a little bit of aggression on this penalty kill. Here maybe comes a chance for Ostapchuk. Wanted to send it cross ice for Armstrong, who was steaming down the middle. Counter attack now. Offman drops it back to the point. Bouncing a little bit too much, and as a result, an opportunity to escape for Alberta. That was Hornsby coming into the high slot, looking to make something happen. Good aggression by Coolemans to stand up at the blue line to slow the advance for Ontario, but here's a breakaway feed. A chance alone, scores! Offman again. And that is goal number 2 in this hockey game for Offman. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a goal that was scored merely 1:57 after he scored the 3rd goal. The guy is feeling it.
This line is definitely feeling themselves here today. They've got a bit of confidence, and that speed is in their legs, and they are flying.
And Offman, you said, had 10 points in the first game and also the first period of the next game. So within 4 periods, he had 10 points. And then he was able to just follow that up with 2 goals in this pressure-packed game. It is a timeout for both these teams. And I often like to have a little bit of a discussion. But before we talk a little about what they might be discussing, the goaltender, Sim, really slammed his stick hard into the boards. He's not frustrated. He's really frustrated with his play, and he is down 4-0. But if you had to speculate what Bobby Fox could be saying to his players right now, what do you think the message could be?
I think Ontario is just beating them to whatever puck is possible, and Alberta not doing the job of getting in the way of the passes. They're usually there. There's a lot of speed on Alberta. They can keep up with Ontario. It's just a matter of being in the right spot at the right time. I think they're trying too hard to get the puck, to get a goal, instead of just defending Ontario's offensive abilities.
So Sim will try to shake off that latest goal, and sometimes those timeouts can lead about some great things, and we have seen some near comebacks in this tournament, so let's see if they can start something here. Grube down in the right corner with blazing speed, drops it back to the point, but it has settled down, coming the other way. Lockhart tried to go cross ice, lost between the skates of Smith, following up, and it is taken away. McTavish pins his guy into the boards behind the Alberta net. Puck squirts out to the neutral zone. 9:43 remains in the second period. The shots are 17-17. Lockhart does a little bit of a spinorama, slides across ice. Bloom pivots in the right corner. Backdoor play, scores! One-timer into the back of the net. And it's Connor Lockhart adding Ontario's 5th goal to the tally.
Ontario, a dominant few minutes here in the second period.
And that was just a beautiful pass out of the corner by Bloom. T to T, perfect one-timer, low into the back of the net. And that comes of 9:30 remaining in period number 2. And Lockhart now has a goal and an assist because he was the one that set up that McTavish goal that started the scoring derby for Team Ontario.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 12, Connor Lockhart, assist number 18, Joshua Bloom, and number 2, Jacob Holmes.
Holmes got the assist. Here comes Savoy, though, right down the middle. Big save is made by Goudreau off his shoulder. Savoy gets it back immediately. Back to the point. Coolemans a shot that goes wide. Zellweger has control. But he falls down and yields possession, but there's a penalty coming up against Ontario. And it will be number 6 going off, and that is Hunter, I should say.
I believe this will be Alberta's first power play of the second period.
Yes, and second of the game. And it's for a cross-checking minor.
This could be another key to Ontario's success. In the past couple games, I've seen them, when they did struggle, they were definitely taking too many penalties. They've managed to stay relatively disciplined in today's game.
Puck is tapped down low into the Alberta, and Wright is in pursuit. And he almost does steal the puck. Now he officially does. Drops it back for Clark. and taps it down low into the attacking end. So a good individual play by Wright from a defensive standpoint to slow down Alberta's power play momentum. 30 seconds have been killed off. Zellweger carves a path into the attacking end. Pushes it in deep. Grube centering pass. Dock a backhander. That was at too sharp of an angle. Took a little too long to settle down that puck. Chagall into the left circle. Coolemans back to the point. Zellweger holding, waiting, shooting over top of the goal. The goaltender fell down in his net. Slow to get to his feet. Zellweger over to Chagall. Wanted to go back door. Coolemans holding. Shot towards the net. Goaltender didn't have his stick, but then he had an opportunity to pick it up. There was some chaos in the net, but it seems that Goudreau weathered that storm. Coolemans a shot now. Save is made by Goudreau. A screen in front by Grube, but he was able to fend that off. And you have to say that was a little bit of a comedy sequence inside of the net by Goudreau, but it didn't cost him.
No, it didn't cost him, but you can definitely see the panic on some people's faces as the puck was coming back to the blue line for Alberta, and Goudreau was not on his feet.
Yeah, very slow to get to his feet, got bumped, and then he lost his stick, but did make the gutsy play of picking up the stick, even though the action was right near the net, but it didn't cost him. So, bit of a gambler, and it paid off.
Yeah, risky move, but he's lucky. It stayed out of his net.
Gunther is twisting and turning, drops it back for Masters. His wrist shot is just fluttered wide. Shot off the boards, and that is off and goes out to center. And that was Savoy. Puck is tapped all the way down into the attacking end. Savoy has that puck, and he is going to carve his way through the neutral zone. Gets it in the attacking end. The puck is on the right point. Into the left circle for Gunther. Tried to go back door, but it's stolen and goes down to the other end. 7:07 remains in period number 2. 19-18 the shots on goal in favor of Alberta. And there was some chaotic moments on the attacking zone pressure, so perhaps Alberta can build some momentum off of that power play.
They've definitely been pressing in the last little bit of this second period with some of their better chances in the period so far.
Smith in his own territory, goes D to D for Slaney. Puck is swatted up to center. Doc has to stop up. Smith, a lead pass. Puck is gloved down by Chagall. And Zilkin took away his time and room. It's poked away from him.
Ontario screaming for a penalty there, but they're definitely not going to get that one.
In the left circle, the puck is tapped along all the way out to center. 6:15 remains in period number 2. 5-0 lead in favor of Ontario. Puck is gloved down by Doc, trying to backhand that puck out to center, and he does. Holmes takes a long lead feed to open ice, and nobody was there. A chance for Smith to carry it in. He takes a shot pad. Save is made by Goudreau. Juicy rebound, but nobody could access it for Alberta. Savoy carves his way, trying to cut into the inside feverishly. Did curl off the wall, but can't quite get the lane that he wanted. Hoffman tips the puck into the center ice area. 5:30 remains in period number 2. Puck is flipped all the way out to the neutral zone. And Enright taps the puck into the attacking end. 5:13 remains in the second period. And the shots are 20-18 in favor of Alberta. Lajoie carries it into the attacking zone. Puck is left there. It is an offside call.
Marc Lajoie, a family of hockey players, clearly the Lajoie household, because his sister Isabel will be competing for Team Alberta in the coming female hockey tournament at these Canadian Winter Games.
4:58 remains in period number 2. Shots are 20-18 in favor of Alberta. Too many men on the ice call. And it'll go against Grube.
Just as Alberta was starting to turn on the pressure, it looks like Ontario will head back to the power play.
Puck goes back to the right point. Holmes slides it in for O'Donnell to the side of the net. Battle for that puck. It goes all the way to the far boards. Cross ice seam. O'Donnell back to the point for Holmes. He takes a shot. Blocked in front. Good scramble. Holmes holds it in that left circle. Drop back for Holmes. Forehand drive is blocked. McNeil making his way up shorthanded. He has a lane down the left wing. Takes a shot. And Goudreau holds on to it.
As I mentioned, Lajoie's sister competing for Team Alberta. His dad also in the hockey world. He's a coach for the Kamloops Blazers prior to the 2018-2019 season.
Puck is played to the far corner. And Jilkin leaves it behind the net, and now it's managed by Clark. He's going to carry it out to center. Does a little stopgap and gets it ahead for Jilkin. Down the left wing, taps it to the near corner boards. Hoffman just lets it go for right. Drops it back further for Clark. He loads and fires, blocked in front and picked up by Lajoie and cleared down to the other end of the ice. 3:55 remaining in period number 2. The shots are 21-18 in favor of Alberta. 55 seconds remains on the power play for Team Ontario. Puck is played out to the blue line, held in, but now is batted around and picked up by Uchaz. Puck is flipped all the way down to center. Played by Jilkin across the line. Offside is the call. .328 remaining in period number 2. Shots are 5. Goals are 5-0 for Ontario. Armstrong is going to take the face-off against Team Ontario, and it'll be McTavish. Puck is dropped, and now Lockhart dumps it into the attacking end. Alberta trying to stab it out of the zone. And the puck is thrown down to the far corner, but picked up by Slaney, trying to twist and turn out of danger. Armstrong has it trapped along the wall. Ontario's collared it in. Shot towards the cage, steered away by Sim. Holmes on the right point. He takes a shot. It's fluttered wide. On the far side board. Shot towards the net. That is blocked. And in the near corner, Smith on his backhand chips it behind the cage. It's stolen by number 14, McTavish. Another penalty is coming up here. Number 30, Goudreau, is going off to the penalty box, so he was able to go to his bench, and now another penalty is coming up against Team Alberta. Power play opportunity for Ontario again.
Looks like Alberta is getting quite frustrated with the score here, because after the whistle, there's a little bit of extracurriculars, and it looks like they've earned themselves a second penalty.
2 penalties on the board for them, so all of a sudden there will be an opportunity for Ontario to go to work on a 5-on-3.
Ontario not pulling any punches. They've got their loaded unit on the ice. This line definitely already has 2 goals tonight. Othman with 2 of them.
Armstrong and Matt Smith have been sent to the penalty box. They're just making sure that the penalties are properly reflected on the scoreboard, and now the extra penalty for Smith has been upgraded to 4 minutes.
Team Alberta penalty to number 18, Craig Armstrong. 2 minutes for interference.
So 2 minutes for Armstrong for interference.
Matt Smith, 4 minutes for spearing.
And Matt Smith for the spearing call, and that was after the whistle. 2:13 remains in period number 2. Puck is carried into the attacking end. Jilkin holding on the left point. A fake shot. Puck is moved around the outside, and the puck is tapped out to center. Julkin maneuvers his way into the attacking zone. Plays it over to the near corner boards, all the way back to the right point. Clark over to the left side. Puck is played the side of the net. Here's Clark, a shot, and that's deflected off a stick and goes out of play. Good stick placement by Chagall to get it out of play. Minute 7 seconds remains on this 5-on-3. Then, of course, there will be an additional 2 minutes remaining on the double minor.
Ontario and Alberta players shoving each other even on the way to the face-off. It looks like we are going to be headed for a third period with some frustration happening in it.
On the left point, McTavish holds onto the puck, slides it over for Holmes. On the left point again, McTavish, Holmes, they just go back and forth at the side of the net. No shot yet. Holmes waiting, now he takes a shot. Over top of the net, hit the backboard, but picked up again. Connor Lockhart steams lines his way into the high slot, drops it back for McTavish. Good glove save is made by goalkeeper Sim. A little bit of flash on that save. Minute 11 seconds remaining in the period, 40 seconds remaining on the clock in terms of the 5-on-3 or less. Off the face-off, the puck is dropped back to the blue line. Holmes has that puck, leaves it for McTavish, back for Holmes. Back for McTavish, one-timer save, rebound, scores. Big pass save by Sim, but then it was directed home on the rebound. It is 6-0 for Team Ontario, and they will still have another power play. And that was Larmont. Johnny on the spot, right on the doorstep to bang it home, 6-0. 57.4 seconds remaining on the clock in period number 2, and Ontario makes it 6-0.
Our goal scorer, Ethan Larmont, not only a hockey player, he earned a gold medal at the World Junior Ball Hockey Championships in Slovakia in June 2018 as a member of Canada's Blazers team.
And that was Larmont really being very acute, being in the right place and making sure that there was no interference around him. He had all time in the world to bang home that rebound. 43 seconds remaining in the second period. Puck is played up the left corner. It's dropped back in the high slot. Clark a shot just a hair wide. And that was a good setup from the corner. Right. Tried to direct it back to the blue line, but it was tapped all the way down to the other end. 18 seconds remaining in the period. Julkin gets it deep in the attacking end, can't get it out. Puck is played to the goal mouth. A little bit of a between the leg play, but that was a little bit wide.
Othman just unable to bury the goal that would have been a hat trick for him in today's game.
That would have been very pretty if he would have completed that. 6-0 for Ontario, 22-21 the shots on goal. In complete command, on the verge of returning to the championship game of the Canada Winter Games in about 20 minutes. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for joining us for our presentation. We'll be back in 13 minutes to recap period number 2. score since there's a lot of goals to look over. Welcome back to the Centrium. A 6-0 lead for Ontario at the end of 2 periods. Let's take a look back at our box score. Mason McTavish opened the goal scoring at 1:21, assisted by Connor Lockhart and Benjamin Goudreau. And then Ontario had their first chance on the power play late in period 1, and they struck gold as Brant Clark scored, assisted by Shane Wright and Liam Arnsby. Brennan Hoffman opened the scoring in period number 2 at 7:37, assisted by Ethan Del Mastro and Shane Wright, so Wright's second assist of the game. And then Brennan Hoffman scored again at 9:34, a mere minute 57 seconds after they made it 3-0, assisted by Brant Clark. So that's his second point in the game. And Connor Lockhart, that beautiful one-time goal, assisted by Joshua Bloom and Jacob Holmes. And then the final goal of the period, 57 seconds remaining on the clock, Ethan Larmont, assisted by Mason McTavish and Justin O'Donnell.
Not solely on the one quote-unquote loaded group that they were throwing out there in the power play.
And that's the one thing, all sorts of combinations have been thrown at Team Alberta. But Goudreau has definitely been instrumental, as well as there was a few chaotic sequences in the second period, but he was able to weather the storm. Didn't always look pretty. He was knocked down a couple of times, but he got back up and would make the save and has looked really composed in net, showing off that form that has allowed him to be decorated in the Ontario leagues.
Ontario definitely looking far more composed than they have in the past when facing an opponent of their caliber. Like we said, they've only lost once in this tournament so far, and that was to the undefeated Team Quebec. Team Ontario on the ice today, though, looking a lot more put together than the team that lost that game.
Would it be fair, Holly, to say that in the dressing room that Bobby Fox is maybe saying, okay, let's just focus on getting the first one and let's go from there, really try to win shift by shift, maybe coach speak like that, trying to narrow the game down to one 45-second shift and then build it onto another 45-second shift, trying to compartmentalize things a little bit?
Yeah, it seems like the move for Alberta because, I mean, 6 goals is a large deficit to come back from, but it's not an impossible one by any stretch, especially considering the skill on the Alberta team.
It'll be interesting to see if Sim will be going back in or will they put Locke in for the final period. So Lachlan Gordon. And Lachlan Gordon was pulled after the first period of the quarterfinal game yesterday. It was 4-3 for Alberta, but he looked shaky, so they put Sim in, and he really was able to steady the ship. So that'll be the big thing, that Sim is the first guy to lead the team out there. They are going to play the third period with Sim in the box, but a lot of the goals that he's had to ultimately deal with, really tough looks, a lot of tough things that any goaltender would struggle with.
Yeah, it's not like the goaltender Sim was giving up any sort of bad goals, so to say. It was just Alberta happened to be beat and Ontario capitalized on those chances.
Yep, he's had to face 2 breakaways, a one-timer, and then there was that chance right in front of the net on the rebound. There's 4 tough goals right off the top.
I imagine another message to Team Alberta in the break was to calm down a little. We saw the temper starting to flare at the end of that second period. And if they keep putting themselves in the box, it makes climbing back from this deficit a lot harder to do.
And I'd say the message for Ontario would be just stifle them. Don't give them any sort of life. Continue to hum along the way they have the first couple of periods, because that has really worked out in their favor.
And to avoid playing into the physical sort of frustration, if that should appear, the last thing you want to do is play into that and put yourself in the box, giving them a chance to climb back.
Alberta has used their physicality well in this tournament. They know how to play the body in a way that will generate momentum. The key thing for Ontario is not allow them to be susceptible to that.
They took some retaliatory penalties as well in some of the previous matches I saw Ontario play, so keeping that out of their game is going to be another key here.
And the puck is dropped, and we are back underway in this hockey game. Carried inside the attacking zone by Francesco Pinelli, and that goes offside. 10 seconds into the period. So we have to keep in mind that the second half of that penalty for spearing still has another 79 seconds left in play. And then Smith would be eligible to come out of the box. Surveying his option is Isaac Enright, and he plays for Pembroke Lumber Kings, the minor team. Of course, there's the Pembroke Lumber Kings of the CCHL, highly decorated program out in Ontario. And the puck is tapped inside of the attacking end. McNeil out there shorthanded, trying to create a little bit of energy. He's pretty good at plugging the puck along the wall and holding on to it for long extended periods of time to kill off some seconds on the penalty kill all by his lonesome. And has been able to do a little bit of that here in period number 3. 33 seconds remaining on this power play chance. And an offside call.
Owen McNeil, also another one of these top-level athletes that plays other sports, as is often the case. Won provincial basketball gold in 2014 and 2015 at the Bantam level.
And Drew Simonet countering Benjamin Goudreau. Penalty has come against number 19 of Team Ontario. And that took place behind the play. We'll get clarification about that.
Team Ontario penalty number 19, Cole Patty, 2 minutes for tripping, time to penalty, 1 minute, 1 second.
So Cole goes off for tripping, and as a result, it is a 4-on-4 for 18 seconds, and then there will be a minute 42 seconds of power play time for Team Ontario. Scratch at a minute 32. D-to-D passing play. Holmes has it down low in his own end. Gunther is all over him. And the puck is being maneuvered around and played out to center. Jokin brings it into the attacking zone. Tries to prod it down low, but it's broken up. 2-on-2 the other way, possibly a 3-on-2. Savoy drops it back. Uchaz can't get the shot off. Uchaz behind the net, wrapping it around. Shot on goal is steered aside by Goudreau. Masters a shot. Glove save is made. Rebound chance. Scores! Gunther was falling down, but he was able to spin and direct it behind the goalkeeper. A really good hockey play. And he makes it 6-1. And that was Ostapchuk that was actually in tight to make that big move. Along with Gunther. I believe he got the last touch, but both of them were in close quarters and made it 6-1.
Alberta taking advantage of the early power play to get themselves on the board here. A fantastic start to a third period when you're leading, or trailing, my apologies.
And Ostapchuk made that little spin move to make it 6-1. And here's another chance towards the net. Shot is blocked. So Alberta is on the board. And they have 17:59 to play. Let's see what they could do here. Try to build some rolling momentum. Zach Ostapchuk has now scored goals in 3 straight games. So he has definitely made some contributions. Let's see how Ontario responds to that. Puck is backhanded down low in the attacking zone, so Alberta will definitely feel Boyd. Will try and go right back to the attack and make it 6-2. 17:25 remains in the third period. For some reason on our clock on the actual stream, it says 5:31 remains in the third period, and it's been frozen. So I will give you some more updates about the actual clock. So it's good that somebody in the chat board was able to alert our attention to that, because for some reason, yeah, it's frozen, and I don't know why it would be 5:31 of all things.
It hasn't even registered the goal to Alberta.
We're a little away from 5:31, about 12 minutes or so. And yes, Alberta is on the board. Do not be fooled by the screen. Completely disabuse the screen right now. 17:09 remains in period number 3. 6-1 is the score in favor of Ontario. Here comes Alberta. Uchaz in the high slot. Backhander. Save is made by Goudreau. And he hangs on in his midsection.
We have another penalty here. This one for slashing.
So another opportunity knocking on the door for Team Alberta. And going off this time is Arnsby.
This is a problem Ontario's fallen into in the past, taking too many penalties, and 2 quick back-to-back penalties here, giving Alberta a chance to get themselves back in it with tons of time left to play in the third.
16:54 remains in the third period. Power play opportunity for Alberta. Savoy in the right circle. Pad save is made by Goudreau. And the rebound control was so good that he directed it out of the zone. 16:36 remaining in the third period. Alberta on the power play for another minute, 35 seconds. Savoy wraps his way in. Ostapchuk drops it back for a shot, and getting a piece of that is Goudreau. And that was right in the slot area. Tremendous effort by the goaltender to keep that out. And then a little bit of a funny gaff down low as the puck took a little hop on the goaltender's sim, but fortunately for him, it did not deflect into the back of the net. On the left point, Chagall holding. Over for Zellweger. Walking that line on the far boards. It's held. A shot towards the cage. That was blocked. Follow-up chance. Scores! The shot was blocked, but then it was able to be ricocheted in front, and Doc on the lip of the crease makes it 6-2. A power play goal. Don't go anywhere. Alberta is making the early part of this third period very interesting indeed.
You can see on that play, too, one of the Alberta players getting right in the face of Ontario goaltender Goudreau. When he moved over onto the corner there, very rare chance that he saw much.
And Doc was able to pound it on the boards. 6-2 is the score. 15:51 remaining in the third, not 5:31. And you have to credit Grube. He's such a force down behind the goal line, able to make that little chip pass, and that's created the avenue for a 6-2 goal.
Jaden Grube was awarded the top rookie prize from the AMBHL in 2016-2017 with 33 points in 36 games for his Calgary Bison's Bantam team.
And really now it's more manageable. You look at the 15:35. Basically, you have a goal every 3.5 minutes, and you're able to claw away. A lot more manageable than scoring 6 goals in a period now.
Definitely. Ontario faltering, letting Alberta get back in this game much closer now than it appears, especially with the shots staying relatively close between these two for the entirety of the game.
The shots were 22-21 coming into the period for Ontario. Alberta has 7 shots in the first 4.5 minutes. Shot towards the cage was blocked. Puck is tied up around the far boards. Lajoie wills it free. It is punctured to the blue line. Punnett couldn't get it out. On the far boards, Armstrong in the left circle takes the shot. A little bit of a bouncing rebound, and it does come clear. And now it'll be played by Lockhart down the length of the ice. Couple frantic minutes in front of the Goudreau net. Arnsby. Pass over to right. He wasn't ready for that, but he found the puck, dropped it back, and Ontario will go to work, dropping it deep inside of the attacking end. 29-22, the shots on goal in favor of Alberta. Hoffman steals the puck, down low for right, in the left corner. Drops it back to the blue line, and that is blocked. And I'm just a little bit of aware of our chat board. Somebody's asking about why the Nova Scotia game isn't on as a shot is on goal. There is no Nova Scotia game at the Canucks Arena because there is no real good Wi-Fi connection there. We apologize. We are not able to give you any games from the Canucks Arena. But if Nova Scotia was able to win, they will play here tomorrow, and that game will be broadcasted if they win the 5th place game. The 7th place game will take place at Canucks Arena.
And we will be lucky enough to be doing the broadcast of that 5th place game.
Yes, in addition to the bronze medal match. 14:25 remains in the third. Alberta is going to work. Stringer is slowed up inside of the neutral zone. Angles it over for Ceulemans. Fanned on that outlet pass, so he gets it over to the other side. Puck is nudged through the neutral zone. Uchas drives into the middle lane. Almost was able to cut right to the goal. And we have a stoppage. And a hooking call is being administered.
Another penalty to Team Ontario. Lack of discipline here, allowing Alberta to get right back in it.
And that is Enright going off for the hook. And yes, the time in the game is 13:57. It's still mysteriously 5:31 in the third. And I think they're fixing it right now. And Alberta goes to work on this power play. Masters on the point, takes the shot, it's blocked. Savoy holds. Ricochets all the way down to the far boards for Gunther. Back for Masters, no shot. Over to Savoy, he takes the shot, it's blocked. Follow-up chance. Puck goes back to the blue line. Good stick extension to keep it alive. Savoy on the top of the point, waits. Now he'll take, scores! A seeing eye dart from the blue line by Savoy. Perfectly placed. It is 6-3. Alberta is storming back.
We are in for a fantastic finish to this game.
6:33 into the third period. It is 6-3 for Ontario.
If Ontario doesn't want to fall apart totally here, they're going to have to really get disciplined and stay out of that box.
And that is the reason they are calling a timeout.
You see it happen a lot where teams go up by that much and then they're not able to keep the pedal on. Ontario is going to have to turn it right back on if they have any chance of riding this victory to the end of the game.
So I asked you to put your coaching hat on for Bobby Fox. Now pretend that you're Jeff Jordan. What are you saying to the troops right now? With a 3-goal lead, but it's evaporating a little bit.
Well, clearly they're capable of dominating a game should they choose to. The amount of skill on this team is undeniable. Aside from that Don Mills Flyer team being represented, a lot of leadership from that team is on this Ontario team. So you know you can do it. You just have to actually do it instead of relying on everybody else to get it done for you. Ontario's going to have to tighten up and actually give the effort that they need to in order to close out this game. I've coached high school age kids, and they don't often do what they're told very well.
Indeed. It sometimes takes a little bit of persistence.
Yes, a little bit of convincing.
13-19 remaining in the third period. And clearly these two teams are incapable of playing a dull game against each other or at all this tournament. All of them have been high event, and it's continued here today. As Chagall got bumped down off the puck by Pinelli. 6-3 is the score. 12:59 remains in period number 3. Doc sends it cross ice. Chagall had it poked off his blade. Brandt on the counterattack. And Brant Clark dumps it deep inside of the attacking end.
Brant Clark, one of those leadership players I mentioned. He's not only an assistant captain for Ontario, but for that Don Mills Flyer team.
Ceulemans gets it inside of the attacking end. It is stolen away out at center. Chagall settles it down, flips it deep inside of the attacking zone. 12:25 remains in the third. Really digging hard is Gunther. First overall draft pick of the WHL in 2018. Drops it back for Savoy. His shot was blocked. And the near corner boards. It is flipped to the blue line. Knocked down. Hyland tried to needle it across for Gunther, but it was stolen away. And Jolkin dumps the puck down low into the attacking end. 11:59 remains in the third. Trying to get some momentum back as Team Ontario's attacking line. Centering pass, and it missed everybody all the way out to center. There's some good forward-checking maneuvers down low by Justin O'Donnell, but nobody was there to accept his drop pass. Shot is wired wide, and a race for that puck. Hyland knifes it down low into the attacking end. But Ontario is able to team up and get it out to safety. 30-23, the shots on goal in favor of Alberta. It was 22-21, so in this period, it's been 9-1 in favor of Alberta. And definitely the scoring definitely reflects what we've seen between these teams. 11:20 remaining in the third period. 6-3 in favor of Ontario. Again, I have to keep saying it. Do not believe what you are seeing on your screen on our live stream.
Alberta just scored those 3 goals so quickly it froze the scoreboard. So we'll just keep giving you the updates here as we get them.
Yes, you're being treated to an optical illusion on your own screen. Not only a hockey game, but an illusion show as well. Double feature.
Hockey with a side of magic.
Yes. And Alberta will need a little bit more magic if they'll want to try and close this gap. Down 6-3, but it was 6-0 prior to the start of this period. Shot from the right point. Save is made by Goudreau as hammering one on goal was Masters. Face-off will be inside of the attacking end. The Chagall Dock unit goes out there. Countered by the McTavish line. .49 remaining in the third period. And the puck will be played by Lockhart all the way out to center. Masters angles it deep inside the attacking end. LaVenture tries to initiate the forecheck. It is broken up. And McTavish steams it up the right wing. Good active stick by Ceulemans to break it down.
Carson Ceulemans, one of the players with a commitment to a university. He's got a verbal commitment to the University of Wisconsin Badgers.
Shot on goal, save, rebound, scores! The shot down the right side by Dock created the juicy rebound, and LaVenture pounds it into the back of the net. 6-4 is the score in this hockey game.
Alberta looks like not a different team, but a team that has some fire in them, and they are ready for this challenge.
I don't know what Bobby Sox said in the intermission, but he might want to bottle it up and sell it because it's been magical words here from Bobby Fox. And poured it on to his players, and 4 goals scored in the first 9:43. And all of a sudden, all they have to do is score 2 goals every 5 minutes, basically. And Colton Dock's shot created that opportunity. Alberta going back to work. Ceulemans in the high slot. A little bit of a maze, but now it's untangled. Savoy shot, ramped off his stick and goes out of play. 9:52 remains in the third period. And Alberta continues to come in waves. Ontario only has 1 shot, like I said, in over 10 minutes of action this period.
Ontario struggling to play a complete game so far in this tournament. While they've dominated some opponents, when they've faced other ones, they've had a hard time keeping it together for an entire game.
Gunther holds the line, volleys it on goal over top of the net. Behind the attacking cage, Savoy tries a backhand centering pass. Locked in the near corner, he collars it over to the other side. Hyland, the very gifted forechecker, tries to go to work, but it is stolen away, and Del Mastro fends off the pressure to get it ahead for Offman.
Alberta giving Ontario a chance to get back in it here. It looks like there's going to be a penalty to Team Alberta.
And the referees in the stands are not a fan of that one, but Hyland hooked Del Mastro, so he will go off. And a high stick as well, so 9:20 remains in the third period. The high stick against number 8 Hyland leads to a power play opportunity for Team Ontario.
Even if Ontario can't manage to score on this power play, they should definitely use it as an opportunity to try to get their legs back underneath them and get a little bit of dominance here in the third period.
Hyland for high sticking for 2 minutes or less. I wonder if Alberta will continue their aggression. So far, it looks like they might on a shorthanded rush. Slaney down low, backhander save. A rebound was there for Chagall. just missed it barely.
That was a very close chance there for Alberta.
3-on-2 the other way for Ontario. Stopping back is Jokin. Almost had it knocked off his blade. It's held in the right circle. Wright tries to knock down a high puck. In the slot, scores! A rocket of a drive into the back of the net by Arnsby. And it's 7-4 for Ontario.
These two teams, like Quentin said, incapable of playing anything besides high event, high velocity hockey.
The Edmonton Oilers would be so proud of this game, from the 1980s at least.
They would definitely be proud of this game.
And that was a gorgeous shot from the slot by Arnsby, but Wright was able to settle down that bouncing puck and set up the golden chance all alone in front of the goaltender. And Ontario, they needed that.
They definitely did. They needed to take advantage of Alberta giving them a chance to get back in it to at least up this lead by one more goal.
But Alberta definitely should be not discouraged yet, considering the amount of chances they've been generating per minute.
Scoring 4 goals in half a period is definitely a show of offensive flair, which means Ontario cannot sit back at any point in this game.
Face-off will be outside of the Alberta zone. 8:39 remains in period number 3. And the question is, how many goals will be scored in the remaining 8 minutes and 39 seconds? We've already had 5 goals and just over 11. Kuhlman's up for Ostapchuk, and he'll lead the charge. A bit of a 4-on-4 now. Ostapchuk takes a shot, pad save, a loose scramble in front. They jam away. The puck is still free, and it is squirted to the far boards. It's held in. McNeil is knocked down. Puck is held in, though, on the right point. Masters, cross seam, broken up. Back comes Ontario. And a charge up the left wing for Stillman. Cuts to the inside. In the right circle, he takes the shot. Blockered aside by Sim. 8 minutes remains on the clock. Wild action at both ends of the ice. And it's Alberta's turn. Uchaz had it taken away, and it's knocked out to center. Falling down in the neutral zone is Masters. Puck rolls to Alberta territory. Kuhlman's up for Grube. And he'll lob it down deep in the attacking end. Uchaz is in pursuit. But Ontario quickly dumps it down to the other end of the ice. An icing call against Team Ontario.
The speed we've been seeing so far in this period is like somebody's watching the game on 1.5 times.
So now we have no clock on our actual scoreboard, so we will give you updates as much as possible about the time. There's 7:31 remaining in the third period, and the score is 7-4 for Ontario. Behind the attacking net, Savoy has it loose in the near corner boards. Broken off stride. Gunther, a centering pass, came into the crease. Hywen was lurking around there looking for it. On the left point, jab down low behind the net. Savoy ties his man along the wall. Lockhart wriggles his way free, gets it to the blue line, can't get it out. Gunther in the right circle, drops it back for Hywen. His shot is deflected and goes out of play. 7:01 remains in the third period. And the shots are 35-25 in favor of Alberta. Basically storming the Bastille is kind of the way to look at it. They're just trying to chip and prod away, but Ontario made some nice defensive plays, particularly Lockhart. And the score is 7-4, 6:57 remaining in the third period. And people wondering about the scoreboard, it'll likely disappear for the rest of the game considering it was frozen for so long. Penalty coming up, interference minor being assessed to number 11, and that is Brennan Offman. Kind of a double whammy because he's a good penalty killer in addition to being a good scorer.
He's got himself a couple goals, now he's got himself a penalty.
He is factoring all over the scoreboard. On the blue line, Masters into the right circle. Savoy quickly back for Masters. Savoy, really good quick passing between the Alberta forwards and defensemen. Savoy in that right corner. Wraps it all the way to the far boards for Gunther. Tried to feed it across. Here's a race, maybe a shorthanded chance. Arnsby is home free, scores! Shorthanded marker. He made no mistake firing it for the 5-hole. It is 8-4.
For every dangerous play that happens on one end of the ice, there's an equally dangerous chance on the other end of the ice.
But the good news is that Alberta still has a power play opportunity, so they have a chance to bounce right back, but that was a clutch move by Arnsby. And that's the risk sometimes when you pass D to D, creates those seams for the turnovers.
Especially if you have a team playing an aggressive style of penalty kill.
And of course, Alberta has to play aggressive at this point if they want to close the gap anymore. And Liam Arnsby scores the shorthanded marker.
One of the amateur hockey reports on Arnsby is that he's a strong possession player who wants to be the one in control of the play, which we saw there. He was definitely in control of that play.
Arnsby made that big play, and then you saw Ceulemans get a shot on net, and a save is made by Goudreau.
Most goals Ontario scored in this tournament so far has been 10. Clearly some high offensive ability on both sides of these teams.
Zellweger in for Chagall, leaves it in the near corner boards for number 16, and that is Grube. Punished a little bit by some good checking by Clark. Drop back for Chagall, walking the line, straddles it along for Zellweger. Cross seam, one-timer opportunity, but it was fanned upon by number 3, Ceulemans.
About 45 seconds remaining in the penalty to Team Ontario. 5 minutes, 35 seconds left in our third period.
37-26, the shots on goal in favor of Alberta. Puck is backhanded down low into the attacking end and cleared down to the other end of the ice. A long lead pass, and the puck is tapped inside the attacking end. A nice little race into the right corner. Uchaz behind the attacking net. Knocks it to the far wall. Savoy drops it back to the left side. Masters holds the line. Gunther in the right circle takes the shot. Save is made by Goudreau. Squeezes the pads together as there was a little bit of a scramble in front.
With that whistle, we're back at even strength. With 4:53 left in this third period, Ontario still with a lead of 8-4.
And the shots are 38-26 in favor of Alberta. But the Ontario team has been so prolific, 8 for 26, doing some rough math, 30% shooting percentage in this hockey game, which is insane.
That's a high shooting percentage that I bet you any professional team would die to have.
Yes.
Little equipment issue here. Brant Clark has to come off the ice.
Grube is going to take that face off, one defensively by Ontario. And they'll try to stab it out in the high slot. Lajoie a shot. That goes wide. Grube behind the net. Trying to use his body and create some havoc as per usual. Slaney comes in for the pinch. It is jam free. Trying to split the D. Getting behind the defense is Lockhart. The goaltender beats him to the punch. Oh, that was a frantic moment, but the goaltender was gutsy and the poke check paid off. On the near half wall, the puck is picked up by Gruby. It's 3-on-3 down low. He takes the shot. Big rebound off of Goudreau, and the puck is angled all the way out to center. Maybe a 3-on-2 for Ontario if they hurry, but McTavish did a little bit of a stutter step in the high slot, and that allowed Alberta to catch him. Stolen again by McTavish, has a lane to the net, but quickly taken away by Armstrong. Really heady defensive play, and now he'll initiate the offense. Bumped off the puck by Enright. Solid check into the boards. 3:42 remains in the third period. A centering pass, a shot on goal, a save is made by the goalkeeper right in his midsection. Goudreau has the puck.
Alberta hitting that 40 shot mark. Ontario just at 26, score still 8-4 for Ontario. And
Alberta for sure will want to at least try to make it 8-5 and then maybe they would have the gall to pull their goaltender down 3 goals. But they have to get that 5th one if they want to harbor those aspirations, as a shot goes towards the net by Savoy and tapped off a stick and went wide. Well, let's let you know that, of course, tomorrow the 5th place game will occur at 12:30, and the bronze medal match will be at 4 p.m. We know that Saskatchewan will be in the 3rd place game, and Quebec will be in the gold medal game. 3:23 remains on the clock. Alberta is down by 4 goals, but the goals have been coming so fast and furious. Don't want to make any declarative statements yet.
Not at the speed that the goals have been scored in this game.
3:10 remains. A chance in the slot area. Savoy is hauled down. There's going to be a penalty coming up.
Just as we mentioned, the speed with which these goals are being scored, Alberta's headed to the power play again.
And it will be a tripping minor assessed to number 3, Del Mastro. And I wonder if they'll be so bold at some point during the power play to pull Sim then. Worth considering.
Definitely worth considering, especially when you've only got a handful of minutes to cut this lead from 8-4.
And something weird has happened. For some reason, PEI at none of it is on our scoreboard for Alberta and Ontario. I just thought I'd let you know about this comedic relief happening on our screen. You're getting an illusion show, a comedy show, and a hockey game all in one.
Keeping things interesting for a night of hockey.
You are so lucky, folks. Pinelli comes down low, shorthanded, backhander save. 2:37 remains in the 3rd period. It is carried into the attacking end. Chagall wraps his way around the outside, drops it back to the blue line, and Kuhlman's backhands it. Grube tries to hook it in front, but it broke away, and it's back to the blue line. Zellweger, no shot. It's held on by Kuhlmans. His shot is blocked. Couple of whacks, trying to get it out of the zone. Possession is maintained in the left circle. A shot is snared out of the air. A good save is made by Goudreau, but some pushing and shoving in front.
It's a well-known fact in hockey. Players do not enjoy when you start to mess around with their goaltender. One of the Alberta players thrown to the ice for doing just that. You can see the goaltender, Sim, during that power play had his head on a swivel. He was going from the play to the bench, from the play, looking to see if his team wanted him on the bench.
And Punnett has been dragged off for the penalty.
Sim on the bench now.
And now Grube is also going to go off, so it appears that like it's going to be coincidental.
Sim headed back to his bench, or at least on the ice. Oh, coach is calling him back now.
All right. So it is still the power play for a minute, and there's a 6-on-4 on the ice. The goaltender, Sim, has been pulled, like you said, so the opportunity to try and get something quickly.
Just over 2 minutes left to play in the game.
A goal every 30 seconds, essentially.
It's possible, right?
It is. Savoy on the point. Masters holds, now he'll take, and the shot deflects off a stick and gets ramped out of play. 1:53 remaining on the clock in period number 3. 41-26, the shots on goal for Alberta. And now the scoreboard is correct. Balance has been restored. We finally have the proper teams, and we also have the proper time on ice. Perfect. Masters is on the blue line, slides it for a one-timer. Gunther had it blocked. Masters over to Gunther. Masters doesn't shoot. Back for Savoy. He does shoot. Good save is made by Goudreau. He steered it to the corner.
Ontario player Holmes blocked that shot, and you can see him laboring to the bench, not really able to put much weight on one of his feet.
Almost a steal for Wright, looking for the empty net goal. Savoy down the left wing. Stops up, looking for an option. Takes a shot. It is off the pad and goes wide. Savoy in the left circle. Gunther a shot. A couple of whacks on the doorstep, and it just goes to the near corner. 1:07 remains. Masters Kept to the outside, takes a shot, and it is held by the goalkeeper, Goudreau. And Goudreau's had to scramble around, but he's made a few big saves to ultimately keep the deficit to 4 goals for Team Alberta, not allowing them to draw closer.
Including helping on the offensive side. I think on that first Ontario goal, the goaltender, Goudreau, has an assist.
Yes, he does. That secondary assist. So he's doing it all today. And both goaltenders, I'd have to say, I was very impressed with their puck handling skills.
Very much so. The goaltender for Alberta, very able to get the puck up to his players in a way that's super helpful.
But the shots at one point were Ontario 22-21. Alberta really did take over 43-26, but the goaltender Goudreau tapped into that form that's allowed them to win all those championships. 53 seconds remaining on the clock. It's back to a 5-on-4 for Alberta. 6-on-5, they try to center it in front. A couple of whacks. Referee is ruling the hand pass, so the face-off will be outside of the zone.
We're at 40 seconds remaining in our final period of our final semifinal here today. As we said, tomorrow the bronze medal game at 4 o'clock between Team Saskatchewan, and it's looking like Team Alberta, and our gold medal game rather between Ontario and Quebec. If the remainder of this game, the score stays.
Well, one thing you could say for sure, they would be rematches, and that would be quite compelling. The game played between Alberta and Saskatchewan, 4-3 in overtime, shot wide of the cage.
And like we've mentioned, Ontario fell 7-3 to Team Quebec when they met in the round robin.
And at one point it was 4-3, but then the Quebec Firepower was just able to take over again and make it 7-3 late in that one, I believe.
They were as well, and Ontario, like they did here in the third period, had a hard time staying out of the box in the final frame.
And there is 13 seconds remaining. And Ontario is going to have a chance to defend their gold medal. They'll have an opportunity to move on to the next round. Ontario has won the gold medal in 2015. They won the gold medal in 2007. Maybe an opportunity to make it 3 times in 4 years. They'll play a very game Quebec team. Very tough opponent, no doubt about it. And then Alberta will rematch against Team Saskatchewan. But really it was a tale of 2 halves of this game. Ontario dominated largely the first 40 minutes. Alberta, a very valiant 20-minute comeback attempt, but ultimately came up short.
Yeah, ultimately came up short. Ontario just with enough of a lead that they were able to give themselves a second to regroup and get back in it to keep their lead. Alberta, though, showing them a really hard time here.
And for Ontario, looking ahead against Quebec, what do you think will be key for Ontario if they want to try and defend?
It'll be to play a complete game, because even as you saw here, there were stretches where Alberta just dominated them, and then against that Quebec team, since they've already lost that one game, it doesn't seem like an option for Team Ontario. They're also, like I've said, going to have to stay disciplined, stay out of that box.
I just want the bronze medal game that we're going to call tomorrow to go to overtime, just like it did the first time. That was terrific hockey between Saskatchewan and Alberta. A battle of Prairie provinces in the bronze, and a battle of the East Coast dominant teams with Ontario and also Quebec. So it'll be fantastic. And we'll see how these 2 teams will draw up tomorrow in their respective games. But thank you so much for joining us. Tremendous hockey between Alberta and Ontario. And we thank you so much for your support throughout the course of the tournament on our broadcast. We'll see you tomorrow to wrap it up for the boys tournament at the 2019 Canada Winter Games. Good night.